Hello there, and here's hoping I find you well. Today I want to talk about obedience and honoring our parents. These may sound one and the same thing, but they are not. And you know, they take central role at different stages of our lives as children. You know, obedience is expected to young children who are still dependent on their parents for guidance and for direction, while honoring is expected of adult children who can now apply their own minds and make their own decisions independent of their parents. With obedience, there's no promise, even from God Himself, who separates these two. But with honoring, there is a promise. I will start by reading from the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, from verse 1 to 3, and then start explaining obedience briefly, and then move to honoring, which has a promise and is more important in a child if all is to be well in your life. I shall read chapter 6 of Ephesians from verse 1. Children, obey your parents because you belong to the Lord, for this is the right thing to do. Verse 2. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise. Verse 3. If you honor your father and mother, things will go well for you and you will have a long life on earth. Right? Obeying your parents is simply following instructions. And in the scripture I've just read, you can see they are not in the same verse. They are separated. Obeying is in the first verse, and with the reasons for such an instruction from God. Little children, they are not yet at a stage where they can do things on their own, make their own decisions, plan their own life. So they need guidance. So for them to grow well into well-cultured and mannered children, they have to follow instructions from their parents. This is where they are just instructed and expected by both God and society to follow instructions as per the dictates from their parents. God gives the reason that because you belong to the Lord, you need to obey your parents as a young child. And then because also it is the right thing to do, because that's where you learn your values, family values, life lessons. You learn through the instructions you receive from your parents, and your duty there is simply to obey. Obedience does not come with responsibility and accountability on the part of the child, because they are too young to be responsible and too young to be accountable. For instance, if your parent gives you a gun and asks you to shoot your neighbor's dog, the neighbor reports to the police. When the police come to attend the scene, the parent who gave the little child, the gun to shoot and instructed that child to do as instructed is the one who is held accountable, because the child is adjudged to be too young to make such a decision and even to own a gun. So by simply following that, the child is presumed to be innocent. The child would have done what is right before God and even before the society itself. Now, turning on to honoring. Honoring is a higher dimension now. It is expected of grown-up children, and it is the first commandment that has a promise. God expects us to honor our parents. But what is to honor our parents? Honoring is more broader than simply following instructions. To honor your parents means to respect them. It means to love them. It means to provide for them. It means to care for them. It means to keep the values they teach you even after they die. What this means is obedience only applies when your parents are alive. Once they die, you cannot obey them. Now, honoring, it goes even after your parents have passed on. Your actions, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you interact with others, the way you work hard, your work ethic, all that brings honor to the parents that raised you. Honoring has got a promise, God says, so that all may be well with you and that you have a long life. That it has a promise of abundant blessings and abundant life. Honoring, thus, is full of responsibilities. Honoring is full of accountability. Honoring does not mean always obeying what your parents can say to you. Because you are now an adult, you can apply your mind to whatever they say. For instance, if your parents tell you to curse God or to deny God, you can say, no, I can't do that because I know God is my creator and He is everything I need for me to live a life that is full of peace and comfort. If you disobey parents who ask you to forsake God, there's nothing wrong with that. If your parent instructs you as a grown-up child to beat up other people as you do your business or as you go about your life, if you disobey that, there's nothing wrong about it. But disrespecting your parents, there's everything wrong about it. Not caring for your parents, there's everything wrong about it. And you miss the promise that God has promised us to have abundant life and to have abundant even in material things. So, children, while you are young, obey your parents. And as you grow, graduate into somebody who honors their parent. The way you talk to your children, the way you talk to your spouse, the way you talk at work, the way you carry yourselves around, the way you dress, the way you do everything you do, it brings honor to your parents. Remember them when you are grown up. Share with them what you have. Share with them what you get. Give them love. It's not only material things that brings honor to your parents. Even some things that are intangible, like love, caring for them, calling them time after time to check on their health and to check on how they are doing. Some parents might be even richer than you as a child, that they do not need anything material from you, but still they need to be honored. How? By loving them, by respecting them, by caring for them. Never forget your parents. Never forsake your parents. For you can bring case upon case for being somebody who does not honor their parents. What am I saying? Let us obey our parents as young children, and as we grow, let us obey where it does not go contrary to what God expects us to live our life. But honoring, there is nothing that can stop you from honoring your parents. It is an instruction that is expected to be followed by every child, and it is an instruction from God that carries abundant blessings, long life, full of blessings. It could be joy, it could be happiness, it could be material things, it could be anything that's good. It comes from honoring your parents. You might be a prayer warrior, you might do all things good, but if you do not honor your parents, long life will not be part of your portion. Blessings in your life will not be part of your portion. Yes, we might be prayer warriors, but praying alone without honoring our parents will not bring happiness, will not bring joy, will not bring long life to you, will not bring the blessings that are in this promise.